In this video, we'll discover Generate Modifiers. So here what we have is the Generate section here, and the first one is the array. We did see it already, but there are a few options that you have to understand on this modifier. First of all, it's the relative offset. You can increase or decrease, okay? You can put it on both angles, X, Y, or the three angles here, like the Z2, and you can enable this or disable this. You can use the constant offset. The constant offset is not a factor, it's a distance, it's a real distance. So you can use meters, for example. Let's say you want 2.757, sorry, here, and you increase the number as well, okay? You can play with an object offset, and this is really powerful. So I will increase the number. As I did enable nothing here, nothing will appear, but we have 10 cubes in the same position here. So what I will do, I will add another object, and this object will be an empty. So this empty object will be a kind of handle to manage the array. So I will add an empty sphere. I will increase the size of it just to have something bigger. Don't scale it, use the radius here. And now I will just come back to my cube and go into the modifiers here, enable the object offset and select the here empty object. Now if I move my empty, you can see that it will create this kind of behavior. So it will change the location. So if I make gx, everything will take that here location value and duplicate it along the x-axis because I'm on the x-axis. But if I add this, it will manage the y-axis as well, for example. So yeah, very easy to manage here the location of your duplication. But what is good as well is that you can play with rotation as well and scale as well. So for example, if I make gx to duplicate it like this and make a rotation into the y-axis, let's say, for example, it will create this kind of behavior here, okay? But if you scale it down, now the cubes will become more and more little. And if I scale it up, they will become more and more big, okay? So you can create these nice natural shapes that we can see in the nature, like for example, helicoidal shapes like that. And yeah, and just make a rotation like that will create really nice animation here. So if you animate here this object, you can really make some nice things here. Okay, you can see that you have really nice things that appear. You can come back and increase the number. For example, let's say we would like to have 50, okay, and it will become something like that. Okay, now if I make my rotation again like this, you can see that it will really create tentacular shape like that. Really good way of doing this, like this, you see. So yeah, it's one that is very powerful, but a simple example that we can use with that and that I show to my students usually is this. So I will make Alt-R, Alt-S, and Alt-G, okay? Now I come back to that object and I will create a stair, okay, for making stairs here. So what I will do, I will make SZ, SY to have something like that, and just select here. I make everything in edit mode, as you can see, and just select this and make this kind of shape, okay? Then I select everything and with GX put it somewhere here. So now my object is here. And if I want to make helicoidal shape for my stairs, I just make GZ, okay? And I duplicate my stairs like that and make RZ. So now I will have this kind of shape. And what is good with this system is that you can come back to your original shape. For example, if you want to create something like that, okay, you just go there and select this part here, okay, and extrude it to have this kind of shape. can be useful as well. So now you have real stairs very easily. So yeah, it can be very important to know this feature in the array here with the object offset. The merge option will make you merge when the objects are not far from the other, and you just it will merge vertices here, and so you can increase or decrease the distance if needed. Okay, but more or less you use this, or this. And we will have other options as well, but we will see that during an exercise. We model a chain with this system. The next modifier, where is it? Add modifier here, it's the bevel one. So the bevel, I will just take a cube to show you that. So don't hesitate to reproduce what I do here, it's important. So yeah, let's add a cube here, and with Control R, I will not cover all the modifiers, but the most important ones, in my opinion. Here I will add a modifier, generate bevel here, so very important one as well. Like this, you don't have to do it in edit mode in case you want, okay? So here is the angle that defines if I want some bevel or not. So let's say, for example, I have a shape like this with Control R here, let's say, and with this, I will just in side view move this like this, okay? So here, as we can see, the angle still works because we have 30 degrees. But if I decrease that, you can see that, or increase that, yeah, increase that. So starting more than 45 degrees here, you can see that now this angle doesn't work, but the rest works. So it's important to understand what will be affected by the bevel here. You can change the amount, you can change the segments here. So yeah, very powerful one as well. You can change here the profile as we did with the custom value here, and the number of segments here will help you to have a nice shape, interesting shape here. So yeah, you have a lot of options, the same that we did see in edit mode for bevel. So very good to add, just to add some bevel in the end of your modeling. You can choose some specific parts if needed. Let's say I come back to this here, decrease a little the amount here, like 5 will be enough. And here I would like to, I can use only the vertices as well, so sometimes it's useful, but you can use here the bevel weight for the edge data. So here what you can do is select the edge that you want to have some bevel, okay? Increase the bevel weight. You can see that nothing did change except that it becomes blue now. And now if you want to take the weight here, only this part will be affected by the bevel. So yeah, a very simple way to manage the bevel weight here. Okay, you select the weight you want, and you can still come back and increase or decrease the weight in case you want to. So for example, let's say I would like a big amount, okay? But let's say I would like a part to be less affected than another. So for example, I will decrease the bevel weight and it will become little here. And I will select maybe there's 2 here, and I would like to be big, to have different kind of bevels inside one object just with one modifier. So it can be a very powerful one as well, okay? Another one that we will see is the Boolean, we did see it already with the bool tool. Honestly, it's more powerful to use bool tool to make this, and we did see it already. We have the build here that honestly I never use, and I never seen a project, professional or not, that use this feature. So yeah, not really useful in my opinion. Here we have the decimate one. The decimate one can be very important. So let's say, for example, here you make 3D printing and you use you want to print your favorite object is Suzanne, okay? and we will add a modifier with control to subdivision surface to have a nice here smooth surface. But it becomes a lot of vertices if you increase this. Okay, so let's say I apply this and I would like to export it to my 3D printer. First of all, everything will be slow when you export and you will have big files. So here you see that in edit mode, when I go in edit mode, it takes some time and I have a lot of vertices to manage here. So let's say I would like to export something with the same shape, but with less vertices inside. What you can do with that is add a modifier generate here, decimate, and you decrease. Like for example, I go with 0.1. It will take a time until Blender will make the computing, because it has 4 million triangles to manage. But when it's finished, you will see that the number of face will be 0.1, this one, okay, multiplied by 0.1. So here it will be now far less, and you can see the result here. Like for example, here you can see the wireframe. So we have far less here things to export, and it will be far better for everything during the printing chain to manage. If you send it to your slicing software after, or if you send it directly to the 3D printer, everything will be quicker and easier to manage after. So try to make this before exporting big objects like that with a lot of density inside. Okay, so here I will just remove this object. Just check the next modifier. Here is the edge split. The edge split is important as well. Can be useful for example, here, let's say we have a sphere. Okay, so what edge split will do? Edge split will split as it says. So I will add a modifier, generate edge split on this, and sometimes you can use the edge angle, and sometimes you can use the sharp edge, for example. So let's say if I increase that, at a moment when it's sharp enough, and I can increase the sharp edges with the crease here, for example, or the bevel here, but yeah, with the angle, and I will see the effect only with the subdivision surface here. You can see that now if I scale it down, at a moment, it will still be, the entire object will still be affected by the subdivision surface here, and everything is smooth under. But if now I scale this up, you can see that I will have a sharp angle here, and that now I have two edges because my edge loop is splitted here, and now it will have this kind of effect. So it can be good sometimes to sharpen the edges. Honestly, I prefer use crease, like I did show you here. You select an edge and you use Shift E. I really prefer that. So the next modifier here will be the mask, and the mask is good to mask something on it. So it's very simple to understand. Let's say you want to keep a part of an object. What I like to use as an example, let's say you have an entire character with clothes, and you would like to hide the part that are under the clothes. Like this, they will not interact with each other. So for example, let's say you want to keep the end until just until the wrist, for example, okay? And it's good to hide the rest that is under the t-shirt, for example. And to use that, you will just add a modifier mask here. So what is good is to use the data here, and you can, and we will create our first group here. We didn't see the groups already, but I will just create a vertex group here and call it hide. Okay. So here I have a new group, and as I assign my selection here to this group. So now if I come back to my modifier here and select the group hide, you can see that now here it will hide the rest of the object. You can invert the selection if needed, but in edit mode you still have everything. So sometimes it can be very useful to use that technique. The mirror option, we did see it already, okay, a little. I don't have that much to cover more, except maybe this one, so I will remove that one here. So here I will select everything and make a GX like this, okay, to show you that when the mirror intersects here like that. So sometimes it's good to use this when you want, for example, only one geometry. Here you have two geometries that are like that, but if you use the bisect here, you can see that now you have only one object. So very useful, this one, for exporting 3D printing to 3D printing. For example, you want something really with one surface, you export just like that. You apply this and you export, and it works well. Except that you use just the axis like this, and it will work well. Mirror is very important for organic modeling, for a lot of things in Blender that you will use. For a car, for example, you will model for sure only a part, half of it. You can use the clipping option, and we did see it during the headphones modeling here. So yeah, that's it. And the clipping option here is important as well. I will cover it again as it's important. So here, let's say I Control plus and I remove these vertices. Now, if I just make an extrusion like that, okay, you can see that now it can cross each other. So it goes the other side. And if I use the clipping option, it will not cross. And like this, it will stick. And with the merge option here, I will export only one loop here and not two loops. If I don't use the merge, you can see the number of vertices that will increase here. So now I have 866, and now if I remove the merge, it will increase 32 vertices more. So yeah, this is this behavior that is important. And except that here, very powerful one and useful one. We will use it a lot during the training as well. The next modifier, again a UV sphere. What do we have here? The multi-resolution. The multi-resolution, it will be covered into the sculpting chapter. It's a very important one in sculpting. We have and so I will not talk about it here. We have the remesh here that is important. So what I will do for the remesh, I will add a Suzanne. Let's go there. So now I have a Suzanne, and if I want, let's say, to kind of try to keep the same shape, but remesh everything. Remesh it means reconstruct everything. So here we will have this. So it will kind of trying to follow the shape of Suzanne here. If you decrease the voxel size, you will have more resolution here, okay? If you increase, you will have less resolution. So let's say I put this value here, I will start to come back with my original shape. What is important to understand with remesh is that it makes only one surface, and that's what is good with this one. Like for example, I go in edit mode here and I add a sphere, okay, and scale it down and put it here, and maybe, I don't know, a cone here and put it there, and make a rotation and scale it down here. Okay, so I have Suzanne with this, and now in object mode you can see that everything is smooth here and that it creates a really nice shape. So what it will do, and in wireframe view you can see it, it's only one surface, so very easy to create something to sculpt, for example. So the remesh option is really handy for sculpting, but it has other options that you can use as well. You have the sharp option here, that can be useful in some cases, and the smooth option, but mostly you use the voxel option for sculpting, and I will show you that during the training with the sculpting the sculpting chapter. You have the screw. This one is very powerful. So for this one, I will just add here a plane, simple plane. And I will make a rotation 90 degrees into the x-axis and put it here, somewhere here. I will remove this vertex, okay? And keep only this 3 here and add a modifier generate screw. So the screw will make an entire resolution around an axis. So here it's the z-axis. If it was, for example, the y-axis, or let's say the x-axis, it will create that, okay? But here we want the z-axis. So to manage this now, I go in front view in orthographic mode, and I just have to move my vertices and extrude, and it will create a perfect shape. Like, for example, very good for vases, for bowls, for bottles, and we will see how to model a bottle with that. So yeah, very powerful one. And what is good with that one as well is that when you have this kind of shape here, you can create, for example, screws by increasing the iteration here and the screw option. So if you increase the iteration, increase the screw, you can see that it will create something like that. So very good to make everything that has a spiral shape like this. So very important to understand. You have the state viewport, you have the render. So more you increase here, it will be in the viewport only, and more you increase here, you will have more definition into the render. Now it's 16 here, and if I increase, you can see that I will have something with more definition here. So usually this is always more or equal than this, okay? So like this in render, you will have a better resolution. And to work, it's always good to not increase too much the level of this. Like this, you will not add too much memory into your project. In the next one, we will see the skin, another powerful one. So I will remove, yeah, it takes a lot. I will remove the screw here, and the skin is very important. It's very simple to understand. You can just, now I have only vertices here in wireframe. I have only this, okay? But it creates a shape around directly. And what is good is that you can use Shift A, no, Alt A, no, Control A, yes, Control A to add some thickness into it if needed. So very powerful one. So can be good, for example, to model a tree shape, for example. Like, for example, here I increase here this, make something a little bigger with Control A, okay, and then make this Control A as well, okay, and you can make a nice shape, Control A, okay, extrude again and again to have this kind of shape. And now you will have a kind of branch, and now you can extrude from here, for example. And as you can see, it makes only quads. So very good one to make branches and shapes like that. I can come back from here and again extrude, Control A, extrude, Control A. And look, only with these vertices, I have only a shape. I have already a shape like that that could be used for create the beginning of a tree. I can add a modifier, generate subdivision surface above it, and to have something that is smoother. Okay, so yeah, very powerful one as well. The next one here will be the Solidify. So the Solidify, we did see it already, but I will add it to a cube, a simple cube here, and remove maybe there's 2 vertices here. So let's talk about walls, for example. Let's create walls. So here I have my shape, and I would like to extrude it into the y-axis here, maybe -2 to have something like this, and extrude into the x-axis, -4, okay, so 4 meters here, and extrude it into the y-axis 5 meters, and maybe maybe not, gy -1 like this, and I will create a kind of room shape, okay, just by create this. So what is good with this modifier? It will be perfect for make something that will have the wall shape. Now we will create a volume from a surface, and now if we increase the vertex like this, if we increase the thickness like this, we can see that the walls will have directly the shape that we need. So it's important to understand something with that. It's the even thickness. It's always good to enable it. Like this, you will really have a real thickness that can be used, for example, in architecture or something like that. Let's say, for example, you don't have this face, okay? And if you disable this, you can see that you have a kind of strange shape here that appears. It's because everything is not closed. But if you use the even thickness, it will create something perfect. So always use the even thickness for that. You can use this one for a lot of things, like for example, maybe a car, or maybe a thickness for furnitures as well. A lot of parts can be modeled with this modifier. So here we have this kind of behavior when we use it. You can enable only, for example, without the rim, okay? So, and you have the duplication of the geometry. You can use only the rim, and you don't have the duplication on the geometry, but only the rim. Sometimes it can be useful. You can play on vertex groups as well, like if you want only a part of it will be extruded and not the rest. And you have other options like materials or things like that we will not cover there because it will be too long. But yeah, can be very powerful, for example, to have a material on the surface here and another material on the rim. And so yeah, it can be useful sometimes. Here we have the next modifier, the subdivision surface. So we know it already, and I will use Suzanne for that. We know it already, but we didn't cover everything on it. So we have a Kalmur crack, so it will make a kind of curve from an angle. Here we can see that we have an angle here, and it will create a curve from this angle, an interpolation of a curve like that. So yeah, very good to smooth the surfaces and to create organic objects, so very important one. But you have the simple option here. It will create some subdivision as well, but will keep the original geometry. You can see here the result if I enable wireframe and remove the optimal display here. You can see that now we have the same shape, exact same shape, but it will just subdivide the surface. Sometimes it can be interesting to use that. In what case, you will tell me? Like for example, here, if I have a plane, okay? Let's say I would like to add here a modifier subdivision surface here, because I want more resolution, okay? Because after that, I will add a bevel. Not a bevel, sorry, solidify, okay? And let's say, first of all, let's go there, increase the thickness. And if you go from here and after another subdivision surface, so what's happening here is that I don't keep the original shape, for example, of the plane. I have something almost circular here. What I would like is to have something that will not be completely a plane, a square, but will be between the two. So what I will do, I will add a subdivision surface before, and this one will be a simple one. And what's happening now? We have this shape, first of all. It's good, always good to see what's happening. So we have this shape, first of all. We have this that is subdivided. I can even subdivide it more. And like this, when I will solidify, I will have this shape. Okay. And now if I increase the subdivision surface, I will have this. And even if I put this here, I will have this kind of shape that could be used, for example, for modeling maybe a phone or something like that. Okay, so yeah, simple shapes like this, just with 3 modifiers, can be important to use. But we can use the bevel as well for that. Here, and the next one, sorry, I add a cube. And here I will have the triangulate. So the triangulate, we don't use that much. It says what it does. It triangulates the faces here. So nothing really crazy. Sometimes it can be useful to see the triangulations. Volume to mesh here is a very specific one, is to manage here the volumes, like yeah, if you use, for example, clouds or things like that and want to convert it to a mesh, it's a very specific case. I will not talk about it here. The world as well, really not something that I will cover here. The one here, the wireframe, can be useful sometimes. The wireframe will make a wireframe, as it says, but you can increase the thickness of the wireframe. So it can be very good to create some structures or things like that, like the Eiffel Tower or things like that. Yeah, it can be very good for that. So let's say I would like a structure like this. I can go in edit mode now, and maybe I can create something like that. Okay, now I will have this kind of structure, and if I create a face here inside, okay, maybe it will work. Good. So now I will have this kind of behavior like this, and maybe I will take this face here that I can select like that and extrude it. And yeah, very good to create this kind of structures like that. And what you can do to have the kind of effect that make a construction, you can add here before a triangulate face, but not after, before. Like this, it will create this kind of structure that is more realistic. So yeah, very useful one. And yeah, again, the wireframe, sometime that you can use in your project. So that's it only for the modifiers here. Generate, you can see that there was a lot to cover. In the next one, we will cover the deform ones. There are less and more easy to understand, so it will take less time. And after, we can make finally some exercises with modifiers.